Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we're going to jump straight into the tutorial, and to start I'm using Urban Decay Primer Potion in Eden. I'm going to put this all over my lid from the lashes up to the brow. Then next we're going to be going in with some Inglot shadows. I'm using mostly all Inglot shadows today, so the first one I'm using is 351M. Just pick a color that is maybe a shade or two lighter than your skin color. So I'm putting this all over the lid from the lash line all the way up to the brow, and the reason I'm doing this is so that the next colors I use just blend out really easily. The colors are going to be really bright, and I just want to prevent any kind of skipping or any kind of blending issues, so that's why I'm doing this. Then next I'm taking another Inglot shadow, which is 461DS. This shadow has a little bit of sparkle to it, but once you start blending it out, you don't see much of that sparkle, so it kind of just blends out to a matte light brown eyeshadow. So I'm using this shadow as my transition color, so I'm going back and forth from the outer corner to the inner corner. And to do this, I'm using the Morphe M502 brush. Then I'm going in with the Morphe M501 brush, which is just a little bit larger and fluffier than the last one, and I use that to help blend out a little bit more. Next I'm taking Inglot 363M, which is a darker matte brown eyeshadow. And I'm putting this color directly on top of the last eyeshadow we applied, just to add a little bit more depth and dimension. So to do this, I'm using the same Morphe M502 brush and just going back and forth. Then again going in with the M501 brush just to blend out a little bit better. Now for the fun colors. So I'm going in with the Inglot 338 Matte, which is a dark matte teal eyeshadow. And to apply that, I'm using the Morphe 433 brush. So I start off by applying this to the inner corner and then doing the outer corner as well, and then connecting those at the top. So it's kind of going into the crease but not going past the crease, because you still want those brown shades at the top to peek through. And then I'm taking the M501 brush again just to blend those together. And then this step is going to be continuing for a little bit. I just keep packing on this color so that it gets as vibrant as possible. I decided to add a little bit of color to the center of the lid just to give the next colors a little bit of something to adhere to, so kind of a base, if you will. And so I'm still working on the inner and outer corner of this color, and I go in now with a flat shader brush. I believe this is a MAC 229 brush. The numbers have worn off, so I'm not completely sure, but just a flat shader brush will work. Then going in with another Inglot shadow. This is 32AMCS. The names are a little tricky, but I'll list everything below. And I'm taking a small shader brush and just patting this on the center of the lid. Then I decided I needed a little bit more of a boost, so I'm taking 24AMCS, which is a lighter, brighter, a little bit more sparkly of a shadow, and I'm putting that right on top just to brighten it up a little bit more. After that, I decided it still wasn't as pigmented and bright as I wanted, so I just went directly in with my finger and patted that on the center of my lid just to get as much pigment as I could. The brush just wasn't doing it for me, so I just am using my finger. Then going back with that matte teal eyeshadow, I'm picking more of that and just packing on more of it on the inner and outer corner. I want to make this as dark and pigmented as possible, so I'm just going to keep packing this on for as long as I need to. I'll sit here all day if I need to. Then going back in with that first shadow, which was 351M, and I'm taking this and putting it under my brow. And this is a flat shader brush from Sephora, so I'm just blending that down to blend out with my crease a little bit, and doing the other brow as well. Now going in with the Kat Von D ink liner in Trooper, I'm going to line my upper lash line. I'm not doing a wing this time, which is kind of weird for me because I'm always doing a winged liner, but I'm just going to do a thin line across the lashes. Moving on to the face, I'm using the Rimmel London Lasting Finish Foundation in Ivory. I'm going to dot this all over my skin and then blend it out with the Real Techniques Beauty Sponge. I'm not sure what this is called, but it is their orange beauty sponge. I am using this sponge damp, so you want to make sure you run it under some running water, squeeze it out a few times, and then you're good to go. If you're using this sponge dry, you're definitely not going to get the best use out of it. It works 100% better when you get it damp, so definitely do that before you use this or the Beauty Blender. So I'm just going to pounce this all over my skin to blend it in, and we're moving on to concealer. So I'm using the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. I'm drawing some triangles under my eyes to brighten up that area and a little bit on my chin as well. And again, using that orange sponge, I'm going to blend this out like so. Then to set that concealer, I'm using the RCMA No Color Powder, and I'm going to generously apply that with the pointed end of that orange Real Technique sponge. So I'm just picking that up and applying it directly under the eye and a little bit around my nose as well, and then a little bit on my chin. Normally I would let this sit on my face for a little bit longer so that it could bake, but I just wasn't feeling it today, so I am just going to wipe that away with a duo fiber brush from MAC. This is the 187. So I'm just taking that and poking myself in the eye, so try not to do that in the process, but I'm just taking this brush and wiping away all that powder so that I don't look too cakey or powdery. Then to finish off the eyes, I'm using the Too Faced Better Than Sex Mascara, and I'm going to apply a coat of this to my top lashes to prep for the false lashes. Then for false lashes, I'm using the Ardell 120 Demi lashes. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of these. Once I put them on, I wish they were a little bit fuller, but you know, you live and you learn, and I probably won't ever wear them again. But moving on, I'm using the Kat Von D liquid liner again, just to go over the band of the lashes to help hide it. Then taking the Milani Retractable pencil in black, and I'm going to tightline. Then we're going back into that matte teal eyeshadow from Inglot, which is the 338M. And using a Morphe M507 brush, I'm blending that all across my bottom lash line. Next, I'm using another Inglot shadow. This is the 321M, which is a matte navy blue. And with a flat definer brush, this is by Luxie. It is their 221 flat definer. I'm putting this right underneath my lash line. I want to keep it pretty tight to my lashes, and then I'm using my finger just to help blend that together a little bit. Then picking up that Milani Retractable black eyeliner pencil, again, I'm going to put that right into my waterline. Next, I'm using the Tarte Tartelette palette, and I'm using Fashionista, which is just a matte black eyeshadow. I didn't have one from Inglot, so that's why I'm using this. And with that same flat definer brush, I'm just adding that right underneath the lash line and then blending that together. And then last for the Inglot eyeshadows is this one here. This is 496DS, and with a small pencil brush, I'm adding that into the inner corner for some highlight. Then of course I wanted my inner corner to be just a little bit brighter, so I'm picking up Pearl, which is a shimmering skin perfector by Becca. The one I'm showing you is the Champagne Glow palette that I believe was released last December, which I don't think they sell this anymore, but they do sell Pearl individually. So using a small pencil brush, I'm just adding that on top. Then going in with Benefit Roller Lash Mascara, I'm going to put that onto my bottom lashes. To finish up the face, I'm using the Kat Von D Shade Light palette, and the color I'm using is called Subconscious. I've hit so much pan on this palette. 4 out of the 6 shades have hit so much pan. Is that even a saying? So much pan. So to apply this, I'm using the Morphe M523 brush. So I'm putting this into the hollows of my cheeks, along my hairline, along my jawline, maybe a little bit on each side of your nose, you know, wherever you want to contour. Go ahead and do it. Then for the cheeks, I'm using Warm Soul by MAC, and to apply it, I'm just using this standard blush brush from Target. I think it's like their Up and Up line, and I'm just putting that all over the apples of my cheeks and bringing it back. Alright, next for highlight, I'm using the Becca Jaclyn Hill Champagne Face Palette. I'm mixing both Champagne Pop and Prosecco Pop with a Morphe MB23. I'm putting this onto the top of my cheekbones and blending this back. I wasn't planning on buying this palette because obviously I already have that Becca Jaclyn Hill palette that I showed you a few minutes ago, the one that had Pearl. That one also has Champagne Pop, so now I have 2 Champagne Pops, but this palette is super popular, and when I saw that my store still had it, I had to buy it, so yeah, problems. So since we have a lot going on with the eyes, I'm going to keep the lips pretty neutral. So I'm using the Too Faced Melted Matte Liquid Lipstick in Child Star. And this is a pinky nude, and it's become one of my everyday colors. To finish off the look, we're using the Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. Just a few sprays of that, and we are done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.